Hello, everybody. So, I wanted to share a little bit about side effects of chemotherapy and what you could do to actually curb some of those. At least this is what I did, and I know I get it. Everybody's different. Everybody has a different body, different thing going on with themselves, whatever's going on with you. If you've been diagnosed with cancer and you're just like, oh my God, like what is happening? What about chemotherapy? I do want to say this again. I'm not a doctor and I don't proclaim to be one. And this is not medical advice by any means, because I have to say that on here. I I've done chemo and I've done 12 rounds of chemo, and I've shared that before in another video. I've done 12 rounds of it, and it was awful in some ways, and in some ways it wasn't so bad. Like when you're going through it, sometimes it's like, okay, like I think for me, like towards the end, I was done. I'm like, I had, I think I had four left, and I just felt like I feel like I am running a marathon. So let me tell you a little bit about my experience and what I did to curb some of the side effects. I really do believe this made a huge difference. I will tell you, I did not have any nauseousness. I didn't throw up. I just didn't have a lot of that going on, like a lot of feeling bad. I did have some energy levels where, meaning that I would get to a certain point and I could feel my body kind of going, you need to chill, like you need to rest. So I think for me, a big proponent for me was to really listen. Okay, you're right here right now, and you've got to just stop for a second or for the day, right? Where I could go all day long doing all kinds of things. No, I can't. No, I'm not. My body's just like, nope. I mean, I could push myself, but my body was like, no, you've had enough today. It'd be like 2 hours after I woke up. I was like, what do you mean you've had enough today? Like, you've got all this other things, got stuff to do, right? So, excuse my throat. Anyway, I'm overcoming a cold that was, or whatever cooties I got from traveling. And yes, I got to travel for the first time since November. Before I was diagnosed, I went to Costa Rica, which is beautiful, awesome. And that was the last time I traveled before I got really sick and ended up in the hospital. And then I just recently went to Sedona, which was magical and beautiful. Highly encourage you to go if you have not already been there. Anyway, side effects of chemo. Back to that. See, I go off on these little. I need somebody to whoop. Anyway, for somebody that's active or has been active, I've been active all my life, and been a doer, and it's like time to go. As we got to get this done. Like I'm just doing things, and having my body go, nah, you're not today, body. Not today. So number one, that was one of the big things, was really listening to myself. And the other one was fasting. I did fast. I have lost, I don't know, probably, maybe you didn't know me before, but I lost, when the whole thing started, I was about 145. Now I'm down to 126. Didn't do it on purpose by any means. However, I did fast. I did some fasting right at the very beginning, when I started chemo. Like the day before chemo, I would fast, and I did intermittent fasting. I didn't do like, well, there was one time where I did like 40 hours. Here's the thing about that, and the reason why I did it is because every book, I mean, I've read so many books about this fasting thing and cancer cells. If there isn't anything in your body to feed off of, it won't survive, right? So the cancer will have to die because it won't have anything to feed off of. It won't have anything there, right? So fasting was very important to me, and I really do believe it helped me with my side effects. I bounced back quicker. I wasn't down for weeks or anything like that. I would be like, I'd hit some certain energy levels, but it wasn't like drag. It wasn't a drag. I didn't feel sick. None of that stuff. It was just kind of like, blah. the doctor said, "How you feeling?" And I said, "Blah," is the only way I can really describe it. So I don't know if you've had that, if you've had been through chemotherapy. I'd love to hear your side effects, what happened for you, and if you think that you could have done anything different. And I think for me, I probably, I had to kind of cut back on the fasting a little bit just because of my weight. You don't want to lose too much weight because that puts pressure on your organs, which is something I didn't know. Like, I have no clue. I've never had any medical issues before in my life. And all of a sudden I'm worried about organs, right? And so now I'm in the process of, since I'm done with chemo, yay, 12 rounds, got to ring the bell, which was awesome. Done with that, never doing it again. Never ever doing that again. Seriously. Like, it, again, I got through it, but I mean, honestly, I was 4 weeks in and I told my sister, I feel like I don't have a disease. And why do I need to keep doing this? So, and my scan came out clean. So again, listening to your body is so important, and listening to what it wants, right? So that was number two, was fasting. And number one, listening to your body, and then number two, fasting really helped. Excuse me. Somebody gave me their goodies. Listening to your body, number one, is so important. And then not forcing yourself to eat, right? Like, I would literally go, okay, well, I got to eat vegetables because they say vegetables are good for you. I better eat those. So I would force myself. I remember, like, okay, someone said, you got to eat like 3 big, huge salads a day. So this one day I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So I made like a huge thing of salad, and I'm like, I mean, I'm telling you, like, if you're ever hungry and you feel like you just don't want to ever run out of food, make a big, huge thing of salad. It feels like it's like a never-ending bowl of salad. It just never ends, and like you're just chewing and chewing and chewing. At least this is how I felt when I ate it. And do not recommend doing that if your body is not used to it, because I paid for it later. With, I had some bathroom issues, I'll just say, because I had put way too much fiber in my body. So again, you got to start going into this slowly and eating the things that you want to eat that are healthy and good. And so anyway, I'm not sure if I'm getting anywhere with this side effect thing, but whatever. I don't script these out. Like, it's just totally what comes to me. Anyway, it was the side effects of chemo, and really listening to your body. And if your body's like, yep, it's time for you to rest. If your body's like, you need to eat something, you need some protein. Like, one of the things I craved was grapefruit juice. Never ever thought I would love grapefruit juice or anything like that. Barely ever ate grapefruit before this happened. I mean, we're talking hardly ever. And now it's like, it's a staple in my house. I love grapefruit juice. There's something in my body that wants it. So again, paying attention to that is so huge. And I think that for me, the biggest thing I learned was how disconnected I really was from my body, how I wasn't really paying attention because I was on autopilot, doing. And so I think chemo and having this diagnosis really woke me up to, like, you need to check in with yourself to see what is going on. What is it that you need? What is it that your body needs? I had a real wide I was going to say eyes wide open. My eyes were open, I guess you could say. I had an experience where I had someone text me and said, hey, I'm going to go to Costco or Sam's, one of those places. Is there anything you need? And my immediate response was, no, I don't need anything. And what I realized from that was that I didn't even pause. I didn't even check in with myself. I didn't even ask myself what I needed. And wow, I mean, that just blew my mind. It was such a huge awareness where I stopped for a minute. I was like, wow, I didn't even ask myself what I needed before I automatically ruled out I didn't need anything. So now it's a matter, I've slowed down so much out of force, really, and like you don't want to be forced to slow down. However, this is what's happened. And it's been eye opening because it's like, wow, I didn't even ask myself what I needed. I just totally ruled myself out, just like I have done most of my life. So you can learn a lot from this, and I hope that you do take that on. And my prayer is that you don't have any side effects from chemo if you decide to do chemo. Maybe you decide not to. Maybe you decide to go the holistic route, which like if I were to go back, totally would have done that. 100%. 100%. I would have found someone that's really good at that and done that. I didn't do that. I chose something else. And I feel like my big battle was the chemo part, right? So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And please, 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 please take care of yourself in every way possible. You're first, always. You got to put on the mask. You got to put on the oxygen on yourself first before you can help anyone else. So please do that. Live you.